Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another day of Finding Hope Through Faith. My name is Daniel. I am your host, if you will. And we're going to get into, we're still in Numbers, but I think we're going to be able to finish up Numbers today. And that'll be good. And we're going to get into Deuteronomy. We're very, very far away from the book that I'm really interested in. But we're going to get there. And that's okay. It's a journey, right? I hope everybody's doing well in their day-to-day, and I hope everybody's finding what they need. Remember, it's easy to choose violence and evil. It's hard to do the right thing, but whenever we do the right thing, we feel a lot better than do the wrong thing. So remember that. We want to do the right thing. Besides, the right thing makes you feel good. The wrong thing makes you feel bad. It's easy to do the wrong thing. So we're in Numbers chapter 33. Last time we were together, basically it was everybody's going to war for some reason. I don't understand why people are going to war. And then now we're getting into the end of, we're past the precipice of Numbers. Now we're getting into the end of Numbers. And hopefully it'll be better information and not so dark and gruesome, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, let's keep it going. And let's hopefully find some positivity amongst all this madness. There's absolutely zero reason to kill people or go to war. Like, I don't understand why we gotta. I don't understand. And the fact that in the last time that I did this is like, if the woman makes a choice and her husband or the father says and finds out and he says no, then it's no. Like, there's no autonomy. It's like, did they think that women were made less than back then? Obviously they did, because of all the rules that men had, but then they weren't the same for women. Like, women, it makes no sense. If you have your cycle, then it's like you're unclean. Like, what? If you're made in God's image, why are you unclean when you have your monthlies? That makes no sense. Okay, let's keep going. Numbers chapter 33. The following are the stages by which the Israelites journeyed up to companies from the land of Egypt under the guidance of Moses and Aaron. By the Lord's command, Moses recorded the starting places of the various stages. The starting places of the successive stages were: they set forth from Ramses in the first month, on the 15th day of the first month. On the Passover morrow, the Israelites went forth in triumph in view of all Egypt, where the Egyptians buried their firstborn of all whom the Lord has struck down on their gods too. The Lord executed judgments. Setting out from Ramses, the Israelites camped at Succoth. Setting out from Succoth, they camped at Etham near the edge of the desert. Setting out from Etham, they turned back to Pi-Hahiroth. I don't know. We're going to go there. Feel free to look this stuff up, of course. I'm just winging this. I don't know. Let's see. Where were we? Which is the opposite of Baal-Zephon. And they camped opposite of Migdol, setting out from Pi-Hahiroth. They crossed over through the sea into the desert. And after 3 days' journey in the desert of Etham, they camped at Marah. Setting out from Marah, they camped in Elim, where there were 12 springs of water and 70 palm trees. And they camped there. Setting out from Elim, they camped beside the Red Sea. Setting out from the Red Sea, they camped in the desert of Sin. Setting out from the desert of Sin, they camped in Dovka. Setting out from Dovka, they camped in Elush. Setting out from there, they camped in... Let's skip past all this. Rephidim, where there was no water for the people to drink. So what'd they do? I don't know. There are no people. They can't drink no water. They're going to die. Setting out from there, they camped in the desert of Sinai. Setting out from there, they camped in Kibroth. Setting out from there, they camped at Hazeroth. Okay. All right, then. Let's just move past all this. All right, here we go. Camped. Okay. Is this where it is? It's like this is their whole journey, which is great. If you really need to know this, maybe you're a Bible scholar and this is important to you. Maybe. But this is not what I'm looking for. This is not the information that I want to find what I'm looking for. It's like, it's great. It's great to have it in there, and it's good for reference, right? Just in case. Okay, here we go. Aaron and the priest ascended Mount Hor at the Lord's command, and there he died on the 40th year from the departure of the Israelites from the land of Egypt, on the first day of the 5th month. That's Aaron the priest. He was important. And he died. But maybe he died of old age. I bet he died of old age, because he was probably older anyway. Now, the Canaanite king of Arad, who lived in the Negeb, in the land of Canaan, heard that the Israelites were coming. Setting out from Mount Hor, they camped at Zalmanoah. Sure. Okay, here we go. We're going to keep going. It's a bunch of camps. They're going to camp. I'm going to pause it. Then the Lord spoke to Moses on the plains of Moab, besides the Jericho stretch of the Jordan into the land of Canaan. Drive out all the inhabitants of the land before you. Destroy all their stone figures and molten images, and demolish all their high places. You shall take possession of the land and settle it in it. For I have given you the land as your property. You shall apportion the land amongst yourself by lots, clan by clan, assigning a large heritage to a large group and a small heritage to a small group. Whenever anyone's lot falls, there shall be his property be within the heritage of his ancestral tribe. But if you do not drive out the inhabitants of the land before you, those whom you allow to remain will become as barbs in your eyes and thorns in your sides, and they will harass you in the country where you live, and I will treat you as I have intended to treat them. So here we are. So I see it as these people had to make a decision. You could either do what God says and risk his wrath. And they've seen his wrath over and over again. God is not to be toiled with. He is a person, a deity, true to his word. He will strike you down. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. All you have to do is do what he says. So, do you drive them out and do as God says? Or do you let them be and he treats you as such, as them? I think the choice is very plain. It's very clear. On to Numbers chapter 34. The Lord said to Moses, "Give the Israelites this order. When you enter the land of Canaan, this is the territory that shall fall to you as your heritage, the land of Canaan with its boundaries. Your southern boundary shall be at the desert of Zin, along the border of Edom. To the east it shall be at the end of the Salt Sea, and turning south of the Akrabim Pass, it shall cross Zin and extend south of Kadesh to the Wadi of Egypt, shall terminate at the sea. For your western boundary, you shall have the great sea at its coast. This shall be your western boundary. The following shall be your boundary on the north. From the great sea you shall draw a line from Mount Hor, and shall continue it from Mount Hor to Labo in the land of Hamath, with the boundary extending through Zadad. Thence the boundary shall reach to Zephron and terminate at Hazar Enan. This shall be your northern boundary. For your eastern boundary you shall draw a line from Hazar Enan to Shipham. I don't know how to pronounce these. I wasn't taught this stuff. We're going to keep going though. From there, the boundary shall go to Arbal, east of Anin, and descending further shall strike the ridge on the east side of the sea of Chemerith. Thence the boundary shall continue along the Jordan and terminate with the Salt Sea. This is the land that shall be yours, with the boundaries that surround it. Moses also gave the order to the Israelites. This is a land to be apportioned by you, among you by lot, which the Lord has commanded to be given to the 9 and the 1/2 tribes. For all the ancestral houses of the tribe of Reuben and the ancestral houses of the tribe of Gad, as well as half of the tribe of Manasseh, you already received their heritage. These 2 and 1/2 tribes have received their heritage on the eastern side of the Jericho stretch of the Jordan, toward the sunrise. The Lord said to Moses, "These are the names of the men who shall apportion the land among you: Eleazar the priest and Joshua, and 1 prince from each of the tribes, whom you shall designate for this task. These shall be as follows: from the tribe of Judah, Caleb." Okay, and now it basically lists everybody. Okay, it goes until Numbers chapter 35. So we're going to skip through that. So it was a bunch of people that assigned the Israelites to the heritage of the land of Canaan. The Lord gave these instructions to Moses on the plains of Moab, beside the Jericho stretch of the Jordan. Tell the Israelites that out of their hereditary property they shall give the Levites cities for homes, as well as pasture lands around the cities. The cities shall serve them to dwell in, and the pasture lands shall serve their heads and flocks and other animals. The pasture lands of the cities to be assigned to the Levites shall extend 1,000 cubits from the city walls in each direction. Thus you shall measure out 2,000 cubits outside the city along each side, east, south, west, and north, with the city lying in the center. This shall serve them as the pasture lands of their cities. Now these are the cities you shall give to the Levites, the 6 cities of asylum, which you must establish as places where a homicide can take refuge. And in addition, 42 other cities, a total of 48 cities, with their pasture lands to be assigned to the Levites. In assigning the cities from the property of the Israelites, take more from a larger group and fewer a smaller one, so that each group will cede cities to the Levites in proportion to their own heritage. The Lord said to Moses, "Tell the Israelites, when you go across the Jordan into the land of Canaan, select yourself cities to serve as cities of asylum, where a homicide who has killed someone unintentionally may take refuge." I feel like that's important. I'm going to read that one more time. Select yourselves cities to serve as cities of asylum, where a homicide who has killed someone unintentionally may take refuge. So here it is. It's in the Bible. If you unintentionally kill somebody, then it's okay to take refuge. I don't What is unintentional, though? I guess it's not out of malice, right? Killing somebody out of malice is murder. But if it's righteous, if it's avengeful, then that's okay. But if you're doing it premeditated, that's wrong. And you shall pay the ultimate price for that misdeed. These cities shall serve you as places of asylum from the avenger of blood, so that a homicide shall not be put to death unless he is first tried before the community. 6 cities of asylum shall you assign, 3 beyond the Jordan and 3 in the land of Canaan. These 6 cities of asylum shall serve not only the Israelites, but all resident or transient aliens among them, so that anyone who has killed another unintentionally may take refuge there. If a man strikes another with an iron instrument and causes his death, he is a murderer and shall be put to death. If a man strikes another with a death-dealing stone in his hand and causes his death, he is a murderer and shall be put to death. If a man strikes another with a death-dealing club in his hand and causes his death, he is a murderer and shall be put to death. The avenger of blood may execute the murderer, putting him to death on sight. If a man pushes another out of hatred, or after lying in wait for him, throws something at him and causes his death, or if he strikes another out of enmity and causes his death, he shall be put to death as a murderer. The avenger of blood may execute the murderer on sight. However, if a man pushes another accidentally and not out of enmity, or if without lying in wait for him, he throws some object at him, or causes his death, although he was not the enemy or seeking to harm him, then the community, deciding the case between the slayer and the avenger of blood in accordance with these norms, shall free the homicide from the avenger of blood and shall remand him to the city of asylum where he took refuge. And he shall stay there until the death of the high priest who has been anointed with sacred oil. So basically, what I'm seeing here is that if you cause harm, which ends in death, if you are specific and you plan this, laying in waiting, if you do it out of malice and hatred, then you shall be put to death. There is no option. But if you do it on accident, if you have no hate in your heart and you love, and this happens on accident, then you may be forgiven. If this homicide of his own accord leaves the bounds of the city of asylum where he has taken refuge, and the avenger of blood finds him beyond these bounds and kills him, the avenger incurs no blood guilt. The homicide was bound to stay in the city of asylum until the death of the high priest. Only after death of the high priest may the homicide return to his own district. These shall be the norms for you and all your descendants, wherever you live, for rendering judgment. Whenever someone kills another, the evidence of witness is required for the execution of the murderer. The evidence of a single witness is not sufficient for putting a person to death. It says right here, the evidence of witness is required. The evidence of a single witness is not sufficient for putting a person to death. You shall not accept indemnity in place of the life of a murderer who deserves the death penalty. He must be put to death. Nor shall you accept indemnity to allow a refugee to leave the city of asylum and again dwell elsewhere in the land before the death of the high priest. You shall not desecrate the land where you live. Since bloodshed desecrates the land can have no atonement for the bloodshed on it except through the blood of who shed it. Do not defile the land in which you live and in the midst of which I dwell, for I am the Lord who dwells in the midst of the Israelites. That's powerful. This says specifically what you should do with murderers. And I believe that murder is up there with one of the highest defilements towards life and whatever you believe in. And the people that commit murder, you're taking life of people. And that is the ultimate bad. Wrapping up Numbers chapter 36, and next we'll be into Deuteronomy. The heads of ancestral houses in the clan of descendants of Gilead, son of Mashir, son of Manasseh, one of the Josephite clans, came up and laid his plea before Moses and the priest Eleazar, and before the princes who were the heads of ancestral houses of the other Israelites. They said, "The Lord commanded you, my Lord, to apportion the land by lot amongst the Israelites, and you, my Lord, were also commanded by the Lord to give the heritage of our kinsman Zepholiad to his daughters. But if they marry into one of the other Israelite tribes, their heritage will be withdrawn from our ancestral heritage and will be added to that of the tribe into which they marry. Thus, the heritage that fell to us by lot will be diminished. When the Israelites celebrate the Jubilee year, the heritage of these women will be permanently added to that of the tribe into which they marry and will be withdrawn from that of our ancestral tribe." So Moses gave this regulation to the Israelites according to the instructions of the Lord. The tribe of the Josephites are right in what they say. This is what the Lord commands with regard to the daughters of Zepholiad. They may marry anyone they please, provided they marry into a clan of their ancestral tribe, so that no heritage of the Israelites will pass from one tribe to another. But all the Israelites will retain their own ancestral heritage. Therefore, every daughter who inherits property in any of the ancestral tribe, in order that all the Israelites may remain in possession of their own ancestral heritage. Thus, no heritage can pass from one tribe to another, but all the Israelite tribes will retain their own ancestral heritage. The daughters of Zepholiad obeyed the command, and the Lord their command which the Lord had given to Moses. Mala? Let's see. The Zepholiad's daughters married relatives on their father's side. What? Were all the people related in the tribes? So they're just like, it's just a family tree, just goes straight up. It's not a tree, it's a branch? Is that what it is? Within the clans of the descendants of Manasseh, son of Joseph, hence their heritage remained in the tribe of their father's clan. These are the commandments and decisions which the Lord prescribed for the Israelites through Moses on the plains of Moab beside the Jericho stretch of the Jordan. And that, my friends, is the end of Numbers. I was completely wrong when it comes to Numbers. It was a lot of violence. Man, I guess that's what happens when you judge a book by its cover, yeah? But here we go. Now we're getting into Deuteronomy. We're getting into a different part of the Bible, but good Lord, that one was rough. A lot of murder, a lot of killing, a lot of things that didn't need to be done, a lot of testing of God's patience. But he said, don't test me. Okay, I'm going to test you. Don't test me. Okay, I'm going to test you. And then what did he do? He destroyed things that tested him. I don't like being tested. You should love me because I did this for you. I brought you out of slavery. I brought you here. I did this for you. I provided food for you. And people still tested and tested. This is not enough. This is not enough. I need more. Man, wham. It's like whiny people. And then God said, I had enough. And he finally had enough. And he opened up the earth and swallowed people. And they still tested and still tested. And now this is where we are. But that can't be said that he is not patient. Goodness gracious. Hopefully with Deuteronomy, we get into something a little bit more positive. Maybe not. I don't know. But we're going to figure out tomorrow. Thank you for coming to see me. Have a great rest of your day.